Turning stories of hurt into stories of hope. Welcome to The Good News with Angie Austin. Now, with the good news, here's Angie.
Hi, and welcome to the good news. Producer Bill's here with me today. I have to just, kind of flip back to Friday and tell you that when the ARC people came in, my friend Francis Owens brought in the president of ARC, and Lloyd was a delight. Francis was a delight. But I barely spoke with them because they brought Lori with them and also Beth. And Beth is dealing with Down syndrome, and Lori, cerebral palsy. And they were so great that I brought them on my other show, and they made my day so awesome.
They were fantastic. I was chatting with them out in the hallway before the show started, and you just couldn't stop talking to them. They were just so full of life and sunshine
And joy.
Oh yeah, they
And
were
the thing
fantastic.
that Lloyd said, he said that what they try to do is get people, because they employ about 150 disabled people at ARC, the thrift stores, and all the money that goes to help them.
Yeah.
He said they want people to be around them so they see what they have to offer. And every time I've been around someone like Beth and Lori that have that particular type of disability, whatever it may be, I find that it is one of the most bright occasions for me. I recently did a Dancing with the Stars for the Down Syndrome Foundation. Maybe it was 6 months ago. I've never seen more people on the dance floor. And while I was emceeing, I saw some of the kids that were learning to dance hug their teacher. And it was a big group of the Down syndrome kids, just great, young people.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, I really love hugs. You're so lucky. And then one of the boys yells out, "You love hugs, here we come." And they all come up on the podium, and start hugging me. And I'm like, the love
my
is
gosh.
just pouring out of them. And Lloyd and Francis both said that's what they want people to see, how beautiful these people are.
It was amazing. I was sitting out there with Lori, and Lori has cerebral palsy, and she's in a wheelchair. And we're sitting out there, and I'm talking to her, and she's like, "Oh," she goes, "Can you help me undo the straps around my feet in her wheelchair?" And I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "Well, I drove here, and I have kind of a lead foot." He goes, she said, "Man, the number of people I cut off coming over here." And I just started laughing at her, and she goes, "I know." She goes, "I'd love to be able to drive."
She
Yeah.
said to me, I'm very, very smart. I said, I realize that, and you're also very, very funny.
Yeah.
She was a crack up. I'm like, oh, so you live with your parents? How? Do you get along with them? She goes, I do my best.
Yes.
So
exactly.
anyway, they were delightful.
Oh.
Another thing I wanted to bring up before we get to our guest, we're going to talk today about the 5 relationship styles. Carrie O'Toole has joined me on our sister station, 8:10 a.m., where I'm also on at 4 p.m. She's a board-certified Christian life coach, a speaker, and an author, and we're going to talk about 5 relationship styles, and those will help us in our own relationships, but also help us with healing and boundaries so that we can be a better person in relationships as well. Now, I think a week or two ago, I went away with some girlfriends to a conference, and I just wanted to mention one thing that I think might help other people that really helped me. The speaker, Bonnie Thomas, she's a speaker from up in Estes Park. I think they have the Raven Crest Chalet. It's a Christian Bible study and teaching organization, and it's beautiful. She said that one thing that changed her life was Bible before breakfast. And so what I find with 3 little kids, I'd often be like, oh, I'll put that down on the kitchen table and I'll get to it. And then it's too late.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've done now, Bible before breakfast, even if that means I have to eat at 10 o'clock. And it really is changing my life. I have to say, if you start your day off that way and everybody says to do it and, oh, it'll help you so much, you're like, oh, that's really great. I'm sure, oh, I don't have a lot of time. But it's really been life-changing for me. And one of my girlfriends, Robbie Yope, she wrote Joy Dance. And I was reading the intro to her book, and she said that her relationship with Jesus had deepened over the last few years. And she said, no, it's not because I go to more women's groups. It's not because I go to more Bible studies. It's because every morning I start the day. That's her joy dance time with Jesus. And I just thought, people have told me that for years, and I'm kind of an overachiever and always really busy. So it usually is, the first thing on my list that gets moved to the last. It's like your main priority, that then the kids come in and then it's breakfast time and whatever. So I'm moving it to the top of the list, and it's really made a difference.
Well, that's nice, because we are supposed to make that a personal connection with God. He's not looking for us to, be in large groups and be in, huge prayer circles or come to church. He's looking for an individual personal relationship with him, and that's where you're going to find your most fulfillment out there, is when you actually sit down and when you have time to talk to him. I find sitting down and just praying once a day is much more fulfilling than, sitting in the pews during service every Sunday. It's nice to show the respect for God to be there, but that's not where I find the best relationship is
For
developed.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
for me.
Well, I
Yeah.
have to say that when they say it's life-changing, it has been for me. So
Good.
I
We
think...
had something life-changing this weekend at our house.
What?
We lost a pet.
No.
Well, it's not too horrible. because granted it was Robert the roly-poly, my
Oh,
4-year-old.
bug.
Yeah, my 4-year-old has been outside collecting bugs, and
Was it
everyone that she
traumatic?
finds, for her, for about 20 minutes, yeah. But this is Robert the second. We'd already lost Robert the first roly-poly, so she's
okay.
on her second roly-poly. And
All
so,
right.
so now she got over that and then was out in the front yard yesterday looking for more bugs.
So there's a replacement, Robert. There'll be a
Not,
third.
yeah, there will be.
There
Once
will
she
be?
finds another one, it's just too early in
That's
the
your
season. to have a
4-year-old?
lot of- Yeah, she's in this pet stage where everything she finds is now her pet, and she brings it inside and it goes in a jar or a tub.
Well,
or
and how
something.
loving and caring she is. Hope's out with a bunch of boys
Yeah.
yesterday, and she's in her princess dress.
Oh yeah,
And she has a stick, and then they find this gigantic beetle. I've never seen a
Yeah.
beetle this big in my life. And even the neighbor guy was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
like, oh,
And so
mutant
then
beetle.
I find out that somebody has,
Smushed him.
yes, someone
Okay.
has smushed him. Guess who it was? Princess Hope. Because I thought it was one of the boys, and it was a smelly beetle. I don't know,
Yeah.
it was emitting something like
Oh my
a smell.
goodness, yeah.
And so I'm like, Hope, I said, he has a life just like us. We don't kill bugs outside. You know, I have
Yeah.
to teach her. And it wasn't any of the boys. I could not believe that in her
Oh my
princess
goodness.
costume, she assaulted and ended the life of a beetle. I don't want her doing that. Ugh.
Not in the princess costume.
No, not in the princess
definitely
costume. No. All right. So let's just get a little preview of the 5 relationship styles. So welcome, Carrie O'Toole. Thanks for coming in, Carrie.
Hi, Angie. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you again. Give us just a brief summary of what you're going to talk about in terms of the 5 relationship styles and how it will help us in our own relationships.
Well, briefly, we were all created for connection. And our brains are pre-wired. God created us to have relationship with Him and then to have intimate relationships with each other. But as you know, we don't live in a perfect world anymore. And so generationally, things get passed down. And so what our parents give us is all we know. So we then pass that down. We meet somebody else, marry them, raise our own children, and all these dysfunctional styles sort of have emerged. So we've recognized through attachment theory, actually, 5 different relationship styles. So we're going to be talking about each of those styles and what we can do to help ourselves recognize what style we have, what that does in our relationship, what patterns we're going to see, and then maybe what we can do to help us move to a more secure, healthier relationship style in the future.
And I think that a lot of people need that. I post on my Facebook once a week if you're having any issues with relationships, depression, etc. I have people call in on Tuesdays or just write to me. And I get a lot of people talking about relationship problems.
Well, one thing that I've really discovered is most of the things that you're probably dealing with are symptoms. Anxiety, depression, relationship issues, even issues at work when you have struggles between you and your boss or other coworkers or whatever. A lot of this goes back to your relationship style. And so if you can get in there and really figure this piece out, a lot of those other symptoms will sort of disappear.
Oh, excellent. That's good to know. All right. When we come back, Carrie O'Toole will continue to teach us the 5 relationship styles. We'll be right back.
Before you open and say, wouldn't you like to know if the dentist fitting your implants has the proper training? I'm Dr. Delizia of Dental Wellness at Dry Creek with a little secret about your dentist's qualifications and training. Many dentists get their specialty training by just showing up at a weekend seminar. Not me. After dental school, I spent another 2 years earning a specialty degree in prosthodontics by studying and training in crowns, bridges, implants, cosmetics, and dentures. This kind of treatment has to be done right the first time, so have it done by a properly trained dentist. I'm Dr. Delizia of Dental Wellness at Dry Creek. Call us today at 303-773-9400. That's 303-773-9400. We are located 1/2 mile north of C470 on University in Centennial.
Call Dr. D today and tell him that you heard him on The Good News with Angie Austin. Call 303-773-9400.
Dental Wellness at Dry Creek. So much more than just a family dentist.
Make money while providing your family with safer household products. Instead of continuing to buy household products full of toxins and chemicals at the store each week, get all natural, toxin, and chemical-free products at a more affordable price. Protect your family from chemicals with safer, longer-lasting products and make money at the same time. Find out how at yourunitedteam.com or call Julie at 303-263-8782.
Avoid the perils of debt settlement if you're struggling financially. If collection companies are constantly calling you and threatening you with lawsuits, then you need help. I'm Kevin Heipel, a licensed attorney who helps good people like you get out of debt. My solutions include credit counseling, loan modifications, and bankruptcy. Bankruptcy? That's right. Bankruptcy eliminates most debts, including all lawsuits. Listen to what Pauline had to say.
Filing for bankruptcy is never an easy decision, but my choice of using Hypo Law was not only a great choice, but the right choice. I was put at ease as soon as I walked in the door. Great staff, great experience during hard times.
In addition to satisfied clients, my firm has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau, and I offer a money-back guarantee. Call 720-263-7060 now to schedule a free consultation. When you visit my office, ask whether you qualify to file bankruptcy for zero money down, which means you file today and pay later. That number again is 720-263-7060, or go online at coloradobankruptcyexperts.com.
Welcome back to the Good News. Carrie O'Toole is here with me today. She's a board-certified Christian life coach, a speaker, and author. And she's discussing today the 5 relationship styles that will not only help us improve our own relationships, but actually help us improve the way we personally are in a relationship, which can decrease stress and depression, etc., if we learn to recognize these relationship styles and how to navigate them. Welcome back, Carrie.
Thanks, Angie.
Let's get right to it. First relationship style.
Well, let's go with the one that I'm very familiar with because it's mine. This one we call the anxious style. And it kind of comes about through having a family where your needs are met very much of the time, but sometimes they're not. And you're never quite sure why or when. So you know what it feels like to have your needs met, to be comforted, to have a trusting relationship. You know what it feels like to be wanted. But sometimes, and typically it's based on a parent's mood or something maybe even beyond their control. They're sick or they're dealing with something outside of the family, but they turn you off for a little bit and you get kind of pushed away and sent to your room or whatever, and there's no explanation. So you know what love is, but it can be taken away and you're never quite sure when and how. So there's an anxiety that's created and you're constantly sort of feeling out the family dynamics to see, am I okay now? Am I not okay now? And so what ends up happening is we exaggerate our feelings. I have a difficulty calming myself down. Sometimes if somebody apologizes to me, it's kind of like a too little too late. I get mad and then I won't accept their apology. Something that I have done through my life, and I've seen this with many other people, is we idealize people at the beginning of a relationship. So we see them and it's like, oh, the savior of my world, they're going to make me whole.
Yes, if I married them, my life would be so grand.
Absolutely. And then after a little bit of time and their humanity starts to sneak in, you kind of kick the pedestal out from under them that you actually placed them on. And then you're really depressed and kind of let down. And so what happens a lot of times is you jump from relationship to relationship searching for that person who does not exist because the anxiety is within you.
And I would see that in a busy family, this could be fairly common with, giving love to your children, but then just getting overloaded, having too much, not having the patience to deal with a certain problem and letting them go. And letting them go like to their room or someplace else where you don't have to deal with it at that time.
Absolutely.
Because you're so busy and overloaded.
And it's interesting because kids have different temperaments. So parents may treat the kids very, very similarly. You may have a super sensitive kid, and they're the ones who are going to feel this more so than some of the ones who aren't quite as sensitive.
Okay.
But so there's a vulnerability to rejection. They're very afraid of rejection, abandonment. And one of the big emotion issues is embarrassment.
Oh.
There's a deep sense of embarrassment. You hate to be embarrassed. Do you remember the old Gong show?
Yes. Yes.
I'm older than you, but
yeah, no, I remember.
Anyway, when people would come out on the Gong show, especially the really bad ones, I would literally hide under the table because I was embarrassed for them.
Yeah.
It's like not enough just to be embarrassed for myself, but I'd be embarrassed for other people.
Now, if we recognize this in ourselves, is there anything we can do to be a better in a relationship and be healthier?
Well, absolutely. First of all, recognizing it. And let me tell you, this one is hard for people to recognize because they feel embarrassed when they understand this is theirs. It's like, I'd rather have any other style than this. I just don't want to have this style. It feels weak. It feels needy. And recognizing, you know what? We're all weak. We're all needy. So it's okay. Turn it over to God. And it's not that simple, but that's a big chunk of it, is recognizing it and then learning how to deal with, where does the anxiety come from? Where does my worth come from? And sort of taking care of that yourself and in relationship, like in a group or with friends or whatever. Don't put it all on your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. They can't take all of that. But learning to become more and more secure in yourself and in a healthy type of way so that you learn to trust. You need to develop those skills, and they can be developed. Sometimes you may need to go see a counselor or a coach for some help with some of this, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but I offer some coaching and some groups that can help with this as well. But I think identifying it is the biggest thing right at the beginning.
All right. So anxious style, what's the next relationship style?
Well, the avoider, and I think we all know or live with somebody like this. It's somebody who, growing up, there was not a lot of comfort or nurture. There was not a whole lot of emotionally available parents. You fell down and got hurt. It was always kind of, you're okay, get up, no comfort, no compassion. So you develop this sense of, I can do it myself. I don't need anybody. Other people are going to let you down. Being needy is weak. And, in the real world, when we grow up, this makes for a great business person because they don't let their emotions take over. They don't get too moody. They don't let anything really bother them. But in their personal relationships, it can really cause them to suffer because their spouses or their partners are always feeling like they're pushing them away, because they are. They have a defense mechanism to put up a wall so that, I'm not going to let you get too close, because if you get too close, you're going to hurt me. That's sort of where it comes from.
Yeah. Is that a person who's also has a fear of commitment?
Absolutely. There's a fear of intimacy. A lot of addictions actually come out of this one, because what happens is they still have the need for connection, but they sort of numb that. And every time the need starts to feel like a need, they numb it somehow. So they can turn to alcohol or pornography or work or church activities or all sorts of other things that sort of make you not recognize you have that need, because to be needy is to be weak in their minds. Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's the avoider style. Right. Go ahead and briefly tell me, if we recognize that in ourselves, what we might do to make that better, because I want to make sure we get to all 5 relationship styles.
Well, recognizing, first of all, that you push people away, that you don't think you need anybody, and you do need people. And there's an emptiness inside you that you're scared to even acknowledge exists. So if you hear people constantly saying to you, you're too closed down, you don't share enough, you're very unemotional, you don't have any emotions, you might pay attention to that.
Listen.
And understand, yes, it's scary, but they're all scary. And to move forward, it's kind of to push into it and allow yourself, start looking at yourself and going, do I really have any feelings? Where did my feelings shut down? What can I do to kind of get them back? Because really, if you look back at Jesus, who is the ultimate human, at God and also human, he felt all different kinds of emotions. He didn't walk around just with a flat line of emotions. He felt very deeply on either end of the spectrum.
Right.
And that's what we're called to do. So if you have very few emotions, that's a real good indicator.
Well, and good advice just to listen anyway. If people are telling you something repeatedly, that it may be true.
Right.
All right. So 5 relationship styles: anxious style, avoider, and then number 3.
The next one is pleaser, which sometimes can be sort of a combination of the avoider and the anxious. This is somebody who is constantly doing for everybody else. They're anybody calls, that's the person. If you need something done, you can call them and they'll do it. Here's the thing. If they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart and out of the overflow of everything that they've got stored up because they're in such good physical health, that's wonderful. But what happens sometimes is they'll please because they don't like the feeling of saying no. They don't want to hurt somebody.
Anxiety.
Yes. It's based on anxiety. So for instance, Angie, if I think you're mad at me and you ask me to do something, even if I don't have time and I don't want to and it's not in my gifting, I'll still say, oh, sure, I'll do it. And then I'll be resentful of you. and I'll feel like I'm a doormat and you never reciprocate, and it's so unfair. And so there's a lot of resentment building up
with the people. And I've also run across the other side, the like emotional blackmailer, that if you don't do what they want you to do, then they somehow take away something, whether it be their love. They won't take your calls. They won't do the nice things they normally do. And that's really
exactly. And what they're doing actually is they're controlling, but they do it passively.
Yes.
So it's not real aggressive. It's sort of under the table. And what you'll hear back is, well, I'm just trying to be nice.
Right. I'm just trying to help. I do so much for you. I even had someone say to me like that, I spend so much money. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean?
But whose choice is that
right,
to do that?
Exactly. Okay, so we've got of the 5 styles, anxious style, avoider, pleaser. What's number 4?
Well, and can I jump back to pleaser just real quick to say one thing real quick is the poor boundaries. They need to learn how to say no and to only give when they really want to give, not when they're doing it out of to calm their own anxiety, because that's not really giving. That's for yourself. You're taking.
Okay.
The next one is chaotic, and we actually talked about this on the show I was on last time. This one comes from growing up in a family where there's lots of addictions or abuse or neglect, mental illness, death, real traumatic things. And chaos is just passed down generation to generation. People don't even know they're living in a chaotic world. This is where there's drama everywhere you look. And
it's exhausting.
It's very exhausting. And they don't even know they're doing it because it's all they've ever known.
Yeah,
so
that's what feels like home to them.
Absolutely. So calm actually feels strange and it's scary.
Yeah, peace feels strange.
Exactly. And they actually have to kind of retrain their brains and get into a place where they feel safe enough to be calm and to allow that, because it is absolutely terrifying for them.
Number 5.
Number 5 is secure. And this is the way that we were all actually created. And it's what I believe God has in mind for all of us. And if we can start working through these 5 styles, we want to move toward a healthy, secure place. That's where we know who we are. We know what our wants are. We know what our needs are. We're able to ask in a very direct way without beating around the bush. We're able to offer what we can offer to other people. We're able to meet other people's needs. There's trust, respect. We have good boundaries. We know how to deal with all types of people in all of these different styles without them triggering us. And, you know, most people don't have that. Whether you grew up in a great family or not, somewhere along the way through adolescence or young adulthood or whatever, trauma or crisis have hit, and it challenges our trust. It challenges our faith in other people. It causes us to stumble here and there. And so what I try and help people with is taking you from wherever you are, moving toward a more healthy, secure place so that you're okay by yourself, but you're also okay in relationship with other people of all different styles.
Now, if you recognize that, like I'm sure we all think we're the secure style, if you recognize that the person you're in a significant relationship with, your husband, spouse, how do you address that then if you think that they are the one that grew up in the chaotic lifestyle?
Well, I think the best way is to approach it from a very, very soft, gentle place, and also to possibly identify your own style first.
Okay.
Talk about it with them, and
maybe get their input on what your style is as well.
Absolutely.
When we come back, Carrie, we'll tell people where they can get in touch with you and take your classes if they'd like to. We'll be right back with the good news on AM 670.
It's hard to tell if you can trust a business. There are times that you have to find a place you can trust. When searching for a product or service where honesty and integrity is a must, go to ChristianBusinessMarketplace.com. At ChristianBusinessMarketplace.com, you'll find trustworthy Christian-owned businesses who have all been checked against the Better Business Bureau, signed a Christian Statement of Faith, and our Christian Business Code of Ethics. Doctors, accountants, roofers, realtors, lawyers, and more. You can feel at ease doing business with the businesses on ChristianBusinessMarketplace.com.
My passion has become for a skin treatment.
Tell me what your experience was after you started using it, because it noticeably gets rid of wrinkles.
And age spots, and makes your pores smaller. Once I started sharing with people that I was selling this cream, the reaction was, you know what? I did notice your skin getting better. I had no idea what it was. There's been not one negative about this, because it's cost effective and it works and everybody loves it.
I'm Shaylee Holland. Call me today and try it free for 5 days. 303-324-8474.
Before you open and say, wouldn't you like to know if the dentist fitting your implants has the proper training? I'm Dr. Delizia of Dental Wellness at Dry Creek with a little secret about your dentist's qualifications and training. Many dentists get their specialty training by just showing up at a weekend seminar. Not me. After dental school, I spent another 2 years earning a specialty degree in prosthodontics by studying and training in crowns, bridges, implants, cosmetics, and dentures. This kind of treatment has to be done right the first time, so have it done by a properly trained dentist. I'm Dr. Delizia of Dental Wellness at Dry Creek. Call us today at 303-773-9400. That's 303-773-9400. We are located 1/2 mile north of C470 on University in Centennial.
Call Dr. D today and tell him that you heard him on the Good News with Angie Austin. Call 303-773-9400.
Dental Wellness at Dry Creek. So much more than just a family dentist.
Welcome back to the Good News. Carrie O'Toole, board-certified Christian life coach, speaker, and author, is talking about 5 relationship styles. If you notice that you recognize yourself in either the anxious style, the avoider, the pleaser, the chaotic style, or the secure style, which I'm sure many of us think we're that one, then you may want to attend one of Carrie's workshops. Where can they get in touch with you, Carrie?
Well, my website is carrieotoole.com, and I've got a couple of things coming up in Breckenridge, June 5th through the 7th. I've got a 3-day intensive, and it could be for individuals or couples. Come up and spend 3 days and really dive in, and instead of dealing with all of the symptoms in your relationships, figure out what the core is. You will have so much empathy and compassion for each other after this experience. It's very experiential, and you're in a small group with other people. So that would be a great way to do it. On my website, if you go to the coaching page, there's a flyer with information, and then you can contact me on the website as well. I also offer 12-week relationship groups, the same material, but over a 12-week period. And I've got one starting in September. I've got one this summer, actually, for young adults. And I'm really excited about that because if people can figure out their styles and heal up as much as possible and become more secure before they enter lifelong relationships, they will save so much heartache. And you can really change generational patterns that have gone down through the ages. You can be the fresh start, be the one to stop these patterns.
Well, thank you, Carrie O'Toole, for coming in today.
Thanks, Angie.
Coming up on our sister station, AM 810 at 4 p.m. I'm really excited about Usman Ndoye. He was in a refugee camp as a child, and all he knew about America was Hollywood, and that's where he wanted to go. He really started off with nothing, and his story will inspire you. His faith will inspire you, and you won't believe where he is now today after how he started off. And we've all had tough times in our childhood. Well, he was completely rejected at one point in his childhood and felt so alone. So join us with his amazing story at 4 o'clock.
Thank you for listening to The Good News with Angie Austin on the Mighty 670. Share your thoughts and comments about the program by clicking on the Facebook link on our homepage, 670kltt.com, or give us a call at 303-481-1800. Hear more Good News with Angie this afternoon at 4 p.m. on our sister station, 810 a.m. KLVZ. And join us next time for more stories of hurt turned to hope here on Colorado's Christian station, AM 670 KLTT.